is over. We are back. Dom and Gonz in the same place, in the same time. You didn't think you'd see it. You've only seen it maybe in a handful of times, but we are back to talk Ravens football. We have missed you all dearly. Getting ready for the 2025-2026 season. Gonz, good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, you too.
It's good to see you. I know it's been a minute since we talked. It's been a while since we've actually done a stream. Since we talked football, a lot has happened since then. We've had a Super Bowl winner. The draft has occurred. Free agency happened. It was a lot. It was a lot. But the main thing we want to talk to you guys, and first of all, we just wanted to say apologies for our very, very, very long disappearance. Schedules have sucked. Mainly mine. Gonz is out there instructing the youth. So we're
just trying to push it out. I'm done. We can't make any promises, but we're gonna try to.
Yeah, we do our best.
Point.
You know,
at this point, it's just gonna come out.
Yeah,
we'll just drop a video whenever. At this point,
yeah,
if it becomes consistent, it will. But if we,
it's not that we don't like you guys. Yeah. It's just the fact that life is life, and we just gotta do what we gotta do. But the main thing we want to focus on, the draft. You know, Ravens used all 11 of their picks. There were no trade ups. They did do some trade backs. But I mean, before we get into the meat and potatoes of it, for the Ravens, I felt like it was a solid draft. Before we go pick by pick, talking about, you know, who they got and who they are. I mean, I thought it was overall okay. Gonz, any early thoughts before we dive into it?
Well, you guys saw my little shorts for the first two picks because those are the ones where I was actually paying attention. Friday and Saturday, I was a little busy, so I wasn't able to make reaction videos for those. But for the first two picks, I was extremely happy about how those turned out. So we can go ahead and just start with those two. I mean,
all right.
Round one, Malachi Starks at pick 27. I mean, do I need more to say? You all saw my reaction. I was excited. I mean, this was another example of a classic EDC, best player available situation where we really didn't need a safety. It wasn't the biggest need on the list. Even though I said so in our press conference, I had forgot about, in my, not press conference, in my short that I recorded, I'd forgot that we had already restructured and Darius Washington had signed his tender. So I wasn't thinking about that. So while not the biggest need, a great player is added to this defense and can come play in the box. He can play deep. He's got ball skills. You can see some of his highlights. He catches the ball with his hands. He can go up and sky up like a receiver and take it away from defenders. It's just, or offensive players, wide receivers. And it's awesome. It's really awesome to see. He's been linked to this team a lot in the offseason, so it's really great that he's actually a Raven. He's excited to be a Raven. So we've got two Swiss Army knives in Kyle Hamilton and Malachi Starks. So I'm really excited to see what Zachary Orr could do with that.
Yeah, I mean, you hit it on the nose. The Ravens raved when they got him. When they submitted the pick, they already knew. When he fell to them, it was pretty much certain that they were going to take him. Like you said, versatile, can play anywhere, which way on the field. And having him helps us being able to rotate Hamilton and Washington if we want to. Since Washington is also known, he can play the nickel. So it kind of helps to know how we want to do it. Do we want to have Hamilton up top? We can have Malachi up top, Hamilton in the box next to Roquan. You know, it's just, the list can go on and on how you can use this kid. I mean, he's a great talent. And the fact that, you know, this could end up being another Kyle Hamilton situation where a top safety in the draft falls to the Ravens and he ends up being a beast, I'm completely okay with it. I thought the pick I think it was a perfect selection for the Ravens, best available. You know, that's how they do it each and every round. And they hit it on the nose with that pick. It's going to be very interesting to see how he fits into this defensive scheme, especially with the new defensive coaching acquisitions that the Ravens have had since the end of the season. Pease,
we mentioned it,
and all those guys.
Chuck Pagano, ex-Ravens coordinators, all coming together.
I mean, it's going to be great to see this defense come together. Hopefully they can try to build on the performance they had in the later half of last year. But Malachi Starks is the bad start.
6'1", 197, so not a super skinny guy. I mean, pretty big, pretty tall, 6'1". And I believe he's only 21 years old too, so he's got a lot of football ahead of him.
The sky's the limit.
Right there at a youthful age. Just I can't wait. He's
gonna be a good pick. He's gonna be a good one.
See. Yeah.
Yep. So all right, round two. Now this one I was kind of. Although I did not know much about him, I just knew that, I didn't know much about him, but I did know that he was an absolute beast in his last year before declaring for the draft. Mike Green, out of Marshall, edge rusher. Ravens fans have been begging for that edge rusher in the draft. Ravens were able to get one in the second round. Now, there is, of course, I don't even know if it's speculation anymore, but it was said that Green did drop due to the sexual assault allegations. He made it very clear that, those allegations are out there. He said it at the combine. He made it clear to coaches, and scouts that, listen, these allegations are out there, but he always maintained his innocence. No matter what, if there are victims, we're praying for you. But the Ravens were able to select Green with the 59th pick in the draft. Green seems like he has that explosive ability that the Ravens have not fully had on the defensive line, on the edges for a little while now. I think he had 17 sacks last year at Marshall. I mean, he's a freak of nature.
That's most in the FBS.
Yeah, he was a freak of nature off the ball. And I feel like that's kind of what, you have a Van Noy who, again, isn't going to play forever. You have an Odafe Owe who had double-digit sacks last year for the first time, but his consistency of, getting to the quarterback, it's a little iffy. You have Tavius Robinson, you have Ajabo, you have bodies out there, but do you have that impact guy who can go out there and wreck a game? And I think this is what the Ravens meant.
Could be the guy to do it
when they made the selection. They were like, "We're gonna take this guy." They vetted him. DeCosta and Harbaugh said they vetted him. They did everything they felt necessary to make this selection.
They did their homework.
And they did the homework, and they made the pick. I think he has the ability. I think he's gonna have the opportunity to really be out there and make an impact for this Ravens team. I just hope that, he makes people regret not taking him, because he fell. He was a first round projected talent.
That's what I said.
Prior to, because I know James Pierce went, Abdul Carter obviously goes top 5.
Right.
You know what I mean? So he was a top edge rush talent, and then he fell to the second round, and then lo and behold, he fell to the Ravens, and the Ravens didn't even have to trade up. They picked him at the spot they were meant to, at their determined spot. So, I mean, I think it was a good pick.
They got a 2-for-1 deal here. 2 first-round picks in 2 different rounds. That's why I was so excited in the short, because this dude was projected to go 20th overall or 15th overall. And here he is, and fell right into the Ravens' lap near the end of the second round, which is absolutely insane. And again, this dude, you can actually call this guy a Swiss Army knife too, because not only can he rush the passer with 17 sacks last year, he's also good at run defense. He's elusive, and he can get past blockers and make tackles in the backfield. This is what we've been looking for a long time. If it pans out, I'm hoping it really does. People are comparing this to the next potential Terrell Suggs edge rusher, because that was the last time that we've gotten a franchise edge rusher. And while this guy might not be as great as Terrell Suggs, but he could be a staple for this defense. Somebody that can be that franchise edge rusher that we've been looking for since, I don't know, Suggs retired. Honestly, it's been forever. I mean, we had Judon who was okay, but I don't feel like he ever got to be that franchise player that we wanted, because we ended up getting rid of him eventually after 2020, right? So he only got a couple years here, and, he worked his way up into that role. This guy can jump into the starting role and steal the spotlight immediately if all things go as planned. And I'm really excited about it. 6'3", 251, a bigger guy, which is also nice to see. And he's also a former linebacker, meaning he can drop into coverage quickly if needed as well. So, yeah, make it 3 Swiss Army knives, I think, in a different way for this one, because he can play the run, he can play the pass, and maybe drop out in some disguised coverages too. Maybe snatch an interception or 2 if needed. So, I don't know.
Michael Pierce did it. So.
Maybe I'm excited. Maybe I'm just getting too excited. But based off the draft analysis that I've been reading, this guy can do it all. Yeah. And it's just the allegations, as Dom was talking about, are the only concerns that we have. But, Ravens said they did their homework, and I trust EDC to know what they're doing. I'm hoping this is not going to be an issue, and that we could just get on the field and play ball, because this guy could definitely be that next franchise edge rusher that we've been so craving as a Ravens fan the past couple years.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the Ravens don't make the selection if they don't feel like this kid can be a game wrecker.
I actually went yes out loud when I saw that we picked Mike Green.
They don't. I mean,
I was so excited.
I mean, they feel as though he could be a game wrecker. So let's hope so. I mean, obviously, rookie minicamp starting up today. Let's hope he can make a good impression on the coaches. All right, on to round 3. Emory Jones Jr.
out of LSU.
I don't mind this pick at all.
No, I don't.
I think Emory Jones Jr. is a solid talent. Honestly, I don't know if he was projected to go higher than what he was, but obviously offensive line is a position of need. We lost offensive line last season. We have to start filling in our guard position. Emory can kind of go in there and maybe play a little guard.
Listed as a tackle, right?
Yes, he's listed as a tackle. I think Ravens this draft were trying to aim for guys who can be a swing tackle, you know, in those positions where it's like you can kind of put them anywhere and they can be effective on the line. And I think Emory is that kid who, you know, had the potential to do that. What college did he come out of? LSU. So he was a part of that team blocking for who else other than Offensive Rookie of the Year, Jaden Daniels. And Heisman winner, by the way. So he's not new to helping protect dual threat quarterbacks, right? So this was a perfect pick.
He's very good in the run game as well.
Exactly. Someone who you can go in there and know that Lamar, who is one of the most dynamic dual threat quarterbacks in NFL history. You know, you throw a guy in there who coming out of college is used to helping protect those type of quarterbacks is perfect. Fit for that situation. I love the Emory Jones pick. I knew they were going to go into offensive line at some point in the draft. I'm glad once they went edge rusher in the second round, I had a feeling, okay, offensive line is probably coming up in this third round, and lo and behold, they got Emory Jones Jr. He's another one that I hope does make the 53 because he seems like he can really help this offensive line, especially depth-wise. I know you don't really want to throw a rookie in as early, depending. Of course, it just depends on, you know, what they show in camp. Or
injuries,
of course, But I love this pick.
Yeah, while this guy might not be a starter on the O line, he could definitely provide depth. Okay, you know, we've got Voorhees in the fold as well. Rosengarten really established himself last year. So he'll be the starting right tackle.
Rosengarten has earned that spot.
You've got Ronnie Stanley on the left. You've got, of course, Tyler Linderbaum
in the middle.
Which we should also talk about that 5th-year option stuff.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad move by the Ravens. As long as they can get it done, they have to get it done. But anyway, so we got 3 anchored starters there. It's the guard position that we're still working on to fill. And you know, Pat McCarry's gone, right? So we need to make sure that we've got depth to fill, and this guy can do it. While he's more of a run blocker, as I said earlier, people think that he has the tools and skill set to become an effective pass blocker. He's quick off the edge. He can handle those speed rushers. So we'll see if he can develop into the guy that we want him to be. So yeah, it's really good that he blocked for what's his name,
Jaden Daniels.
Yep. So it makes the transition a lot easier going from Jaden Daniels to Lamar Jackson.
Yeah. I mean, it's a perfect back-to-back. I mean, you go from one dynamic quarterback to another dynamic quarterback, so you're used to it. So yeah, shout out to Emory Jones Jr. I'm hoping he makes the 53. On to the 4th round. We did have 2.
This was a nice one too. I like this one.
The first selection
just one in the 4th.
It was one in the 4th?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was one in the 4th. I believe that was Teddy Buchanan.
Out of Cal.
Yeah. I hear good things about this kid. Very, very dynamic. Has a great blitzing ability, I hear, to be able to get to the quarterback from that
5
inside
sacks last year.
spot. Yeah. So, I mean, he's pretty dynamic in that regard. Pretty quick too. At least from the tape that I've seen, looks like he's definitely giving more speed than Roquan does.
This dude is quick. He can break on the ball. I've watched a little bit of stuff on him.
Yeah, he seems pretty dynamic in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, look at that.
Yeah, he's able to get to the
chase and tackle
quick.
kind of guy. Yeah. Almost a heat-seeking kind of guy. Like
you could use that.
Big guy, or not. I don't want to give him that, but see ball, chase ball, kind of that. He could break on the ball pretty good. And he could wrap people up, which is what we really need. Okay. You know, because that's also been an issue for our guys in the past. So this could be a sleeper pick, honestly.
Seems like a good kid.
He looks, I mean, he wraps up quarterbacks trying to scramble on some of these highlights that I've seen. I'm checking out a couple things now just to confirm.
12 TFLs.
And yeah, he's got 12 TFLs, 114 total tackles last year. on the California Bears, right? Is that their team?
I
Bears?
believe so.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And this guy has the ability to be one of the Ravens sleepers, round 4 picks that, we could develop into somebody good. He could be the next Travis Jones.
Yeah. Even if he's just on special teams,
pick.
I know we need more special teams.
We don't have a cemented second middle linebacker. We've got Trenton Simpson, but he has not shown enough to cement that starting position going into next year.
That's why camp is going to be big this year.
So, yeah, this could be, if Buchanan goes crazy, he could see that starting lineup week 1.
Maybe
If you're not careful.
You put your best field out. You put your best men out there. So
yeah,
if Buchanan earns it, you can't really deny it from him.
This dude flies into the backfield too. Like I see, like he's a see ball, chase ball kind of guy.
We need,
and I'm excited about it.
So we could pressure some quarterbacks, man. So I love the Buchanan pick.
I do. It's a sleeper.
I like if he makes it. You kind of hope that all the draft picks make it, but certain guys are just
I think he'll make it because we lost both of our linebackers this year.
We did, we lost Harrison and we lost Board.
Harrison went to Pittsburgh, and I think where did Board go? Can't remember,
but we did lose him. So,
but yeah, he's probably, unless something crazy happens, I'm sure he's going to be on the roster
for sure.
Yeah. Now this is where it gets a little interesting when we go to round 5, and I don't know how you feel about this, but I was kind of unsure at the just because we had just taken an O lineman, and maybe they could have went DB there. I don't know, but they go Carson Vincent out of Alabama A&M, listed at 6'7", 314. So gigantic man or massive thing of a human being. So I don't know. How do you feel about that?
The funny thing is, I think I'm going to have the chance to talk to him tomorrow.
Oh, gosh.
I'm sorry. At the mini camp tomorrow, I think we have a one-on-one interview with him. But
okay.
I think he's out of Alabama A&M.
That's right.
And he coaches, I think, from that university.
Listed as tackle.
Raved about him. Yes. And like you said, he's a behemoth of a human being, and I'm hoping that, again, he's kind of like another depth piece that you can throw in when we need it, especially maybe in those heavier sets when we're when we need a first down, stuff like that. Like, I think he'll be an asset to the team, especially because, Alabama and A&M, they weren't playing like, some of those teams, they were playing when they played those higher school teams, like they were probably getting bodied.
Yeah.
But, I don't think he gave up that many sacks during his tenure at Alabama A&M. So I feel as though he can still, mind you, he's going against NFL caliber players in the college level at that time. You know what I mean? So I think he can still be an asset. Like I said, I think he works hard, he grinds. I like the pick,
Okay.
because you never have enough depth on the offensive line. And if he can earn it and be a depth piece for us, I'll take it.
Yeah. I'm not going to comment too much on it because I just don't know too much about him.
Right.
So Dom gave you his insight. After looking at some things, again, more of a run blocker, and it seems that he needs to, develop more into a pass rusher. So we'll see if he can pan out into that, that product that we're looking for, a dual threat of run and pass blocker, which is what we strive for here in Baltimore. But yeah, we'll see. I was a little shocked that we went O lineman right after we picked somebody in the third round. I'm surprised we didn't go corner
Trying to
a
rebuild
little bit earlier.
Man. Yeah.
Not saying it's a bad thing. That was just what I thought was going to happen. I know DB was a major need coming in.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Because they ended up going DB in round 6 for their first pick. First pick of round 6, they go Bihal Cone from Western Michigan. I hope I'm saying that right. I don't know.
Bilal Cone, I think.
Bilal something.
Yeah, I know it's Bilal. I think it's Bilal, but
okay. Yeah, 6'1", so taller guy, 190 pounds, out of Western Michigan. He was a Bronco. Okay, Josh Allen's old college, by the way. So yeah, he's a little bit. I didn't do too much highlights or watch too much films on these kind of guys. And it looks like he's a pretty good in man coverage and press coverage, so that's pretty good. He times his breaks on the ball. And he definitely could break up some passes. The problem is his tackling mostly, since he's more of a skinnier guy, wrapping up ball carriers or bring him to the ground. But he's pretty good at fighting off blockers too, according to the draft coverage. So yeah, we've got ourselves a nice little man coverage corner, sticky corner who can play press, break on the ball good, just need to work on the tackling a little bit. So yeah, I'm fine with him. I'm not sure how he's going to pan out. This will be an interesting preseason to see how he does. But how do you feel about Cone?
I feel like he was a solid pick. I know he was one of Mel Kiper's best available as the draft was kind of going on. I know some fans were concerned because they did see some clips of him in one-on-one situations, and he was kind of not turning his head as the ball was in the air.
Oh, no.
So I don't know how much.
It's weird. ESPN lists him at 6'2", but the draft analysis lists him 6'1". But anyhow.
Yeah, I don't know exactly. Like, he could completely change our perspective, especially as camp goes on this summer. But, we need corner depth. I mean, we lost Brandon Stevens. We have TJ Tampa, of course, who didn't play much last year due to injury. But, I mean, we need that corner depth. I mean, Marlowe, we got Wiggins, we signed Chidobe Awuzie, who is also a vet, but it's going to be good to try to get younger at that position. And, maybe Cone could be, a great man corner.
That'd be cool.
Who can help stick with a lot of these AFC North wide receivers because we're gonna need it. Since AFC North
he transferred last year. Or 2 years ago from Indiana State, before he transferred to Western Michigan for 2023 and 2024. Last year was his best season where he had 70 total tackles, 45 by himself, 25 assisted, and 8 passes defense, along with 1 interception. So yeah, he definitely got some serious action last year. So we'll see how he does in the preseason. Again, that's why I love watching preseason because, you get to see these younger guys
action.
See what they can do. I don't know. I remember the Ravens did cut one of their corners last year that they drafted. I believe it was Caillou Blue Kelly. So you never knew.
Yep. He ended up on the Seahawks, but I don't know if he remained on the Seahawks.
Yeah. So this is a big camp for these guys. So yeah, that's it for round 6, pick 1. Now let's go on to the next one. I believe it was the kicker, Tyler Loop. Am I correct on that?
I think you
might
be
I am.
correct.
Out of Arizona.
Yeah, we had a feeling this pick was coming. Especially at the beginning of the year after the pipe bomb dropped on Justin Tucker. You had a feeling that a kicker pick was probably coming. A lot of people anticipated that it was most likely going to be in the 6th round because the Ravens had so many 6th round picks this year. And lo and behold, they get Tyler Loop. I hear he's pretty accurate.
Yeah, he's got a good leg.
He's got a
record of 62-yard kick that he made last year against Houston. And he holds the highest field goal percentage in school history with 83.3 or 83.75%. So he's not terrible. He was also their punter back in 2020, so he's a little bit versatile if need to. So this will be cool. I'm excited to see how this guy looks. Give Tucker a little bit of comp. Going on if he's still on the team. I'm not sure if he's going to be. I don't know what this means for Tucker. If this is goodbye.
Honestly, it also we still have to wait for the NFL's investigation.
We
don't know if what the NFL decision is going to be. If Tucker will face a suspension, we don't know. The NFL has not, according to at least Acosta, the NFL hasn't really kept them in the loop too much about how that investigation is going. The NFL was in Baltimore not too long ago. I think they were interviewing, the victims. So we just have to see. We have to see what's going on. But until then, I mean, the Ravens is trying to do their due diligence and, pick up a kicker in case of any situation. And, good luck to Loop, because if he has to get that playing time in, we're going to need him.
Right. So, and I just don't think it bodes well for Tucker because we haven't drafted a kicker since probably before Tucker.
We've never drafted a kicker.
Never.
We've never drafted a kicker up until this point. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
This is the first kicker the Ravens have ever drafted.
Yeah, so that's why it doesn't look good. Yeah. Because you don't do that unless it's necessary. Because I thought Tucker played well enough at the end of the year where he would get one more shot, at least one more shot. I thought. But that's what we know. We'll see what ends up happening. But yeah, that's pick number 2 for the Ravens out of 4 in round 6. 5 in round 6. They had a bunch in round 6. And only had 1 in the 7th. So number 3 could be an exciting one out of Colorado. LaJohntay Wester.
That's my favorite.
Number 10.
That's one of my favorite picks in the draft.
Number 10. Yeah, I remember he wore number 10 on that team. I remember watching Colorado. This guy, again, could be another sleeper. A sneaky
that
guy.
was
This
one of
dude
my-
is absolutely shifty. He can be a punt returner. It's something we've been looking for. So, yeah, what do you think about him?
And that's one of my favorite picks of the draft. I was I quite literally was hoping that I didn't know how the Colorado receivers were going to fall, right? Because I mean, the offense was pretty good in Colorado last year. I didn't know like how that board was going to fall, but the fact that we were able to get Wester, I was pretty ecstatic about.
Good.
That we can get Wester. I think he can, like you said, he's twitchy, he's quick. He had that miracle catch.
That's right. When they scored against Baylor, right?
Yeah,
was it Baylor?
I think it was Baylor, and he had that miracle catch.
I didn't know that was him.
Yeah, it was him. And he almost had 1,000 yards last year, 10 touchdowns. The kid is pretty good, man. I think like honestly, while he most likely will be on special teams, I feel as though, man, I'm hoping he can get some reps in the preseason. I really want to see this kid work.
He should.
He was like, because I watched a decent amount of Colorado games, and I was able to see him work. Now, while Travis did get a lot of the attention because it's Travis Hunter, when LaJonte was open, he was making a play.
Good.
So I'm excited to see how he falls into this roster. This is another one that I really hope makes the 53 to add to that wide receiver depth, because I mean you got D Hop, Devontae, Tylen, Bate, Flowers. I mean, why not have LaJonte in there? To just throw the pot up a little bit. Especially for that deep ball ability, because he does have it.
This is a solid pick. So he's a Florida Atlantic. Phone call, but we're back on now. He had 4 straight seasons at Florida Atlantic, where his best season coming in 2023 with 108 catches and 1,100 yards with 8 touchdowns. So pretty solid stuff. Then he transfers over to Colorado last year, played with Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, and all them. 74 catches, 931, as Dom said, and 10 scores. And by the way, his last 2 seasons, he's had at least a 60-yard touchdown reception. Okay,
I told you,
his
that
long
deep
one,
ball ability, man.
Last year he had a 69-yard touchdown, and the year before his long one was a 76-yard touchdown. So this dude is
he could be electric.
He's a deep threat.
He could be electric.
He's got a good ability to track the deep ball, which is always something we're looking for. So this could be a fun kid to watch. Especially, I really want to see how he does in punt returns. So this is going to be cool. This is going to be cool.
I really hope he's on the roster.
The name rang a bell, but I didn't quite know who it was until I started researching him a couple days ago, and I forgot he was this Colorado dude. I did not know he caught the Hail Mary or whatever, the miracle touchdown. So this is a sneak. This could be, again, another sleeper pick for the Ravens. They've got a bunch.
I like that pick, man.
And they've got another one coming up here, I believe, and that is... Moving on to the next one. Is it who I think it is? I'm sorry, let me just double check. Yes, Aeneas Peebles, another sleeper pick. That's who was leading right into it for Virginia Tech. 6'1", 282. So not the biggest interior D lineman, but that doesn't mean he is not playing with aggression. Because, what do you think about him? I think he's able to get under blockers. He can stuff. This dude could wreck the game sometimes. He could be a potential... Do I want to even go that far about a potential Cameron Hayward? Maybe. I don't know. Just saying.
What it is about Peebles?
What do you think?
After when the Ravens picked him up, I don't know if you saw on Twitter, but he went straight to I think it's called the Real app or anything like that. I think it's where you give sports stuff. And he said, "Man, I'm gonna make these other 31 teams regret not drafting me." I'm not gonna lie, this kid he's a crash out. And I'm not gonna lie, we need some of those.
Yeah.
You need some of those guys on the crash out. You need crash outs on the D line, man. So I like him. I think like you said, he's not the biggest guy, but maybe that can help.
Very
quickness,
strong, and he plays with aggression,
and strength. Yeah, so I think he'd be a great fit, and it's gonna be great to start continuing to get younger in the interior D line, especially with the retirement of Pierce. You still have Broderick Washington, you still have Travis Jones, Beaks is still in that interior area.
Throw this guy in the lineup.
But I mean, why not? Try to create more interior pressure. The trenches is so important, and the Eagles taught us that in the past Super Bowl.
Right.
Like,
this dude has the ability to push the pocket. I mean, he plays way bigger than his size. He really does. That's what it's
I'm
saying.
hoping he can do that.
And if you can pressure the pocket and push the pocket on every play, or not every, just on, on the bigger plays, like, we need somebody that can close the game. If he comes in there and pushes the pocket on that last stop, 4th and goal or whatever, throws the quarterback off, that's what we need. Okay, that's exactly what we need, because sometimes we have issues getting that last stop. We're getting better at closing the games out, like winning the games in the end, but sometimes we still have issues with that. All right, last drive, we're up, let's win right here. We don't want to have Lamar go down and win it for us, which he's done in the past. He's done it, yeah. But this guy could be one of those potential closers that we're looking for.
We need closers
on the D line to make those plays. So I'm excited about him. I'm really excited about him because it sounds like he's got something to prove. And it's cool to see that he plays to his strength. He plays bigger than 6'1", 282.
He's tough.
So we'll see how he goes. Now we've got 2 more picks to discuss real quick. I don't know too much about these guys. We've got Robert Longerbeam out of Rutgers, cornerback, 5'11", 175. So he's a little bit. Sorry, being interrupted. It's okay. So we'll see how he goes. I'm not too sure about how this guy is. I think he's similar in the fact with our other guy, Cone, where he can break on the ball, reads the quarterback's eyes, can break on the ball, make some knockouts. But what have you seen about this guy?
He's quick, man. He's super quick. Okay. I think he ran a 4.39. Pretty fast, tall. I know Ravens recently had a film session talking about the rookies, and they were talking about Longerbeam, and one thing they liked about him again is just how quick he was, to get to the ball, like you were talking about, and we said, we need those guys who can close in quick. With closing speed, and I think Longerbeam could have that. I don't know, like you, I don't know too much about him, but at least to that point, I know he's pretty fast.
I see that he did play on the outside, mainly in college, so he'll probably have to move out of that slot. I'm not sure, unless he goes absolutely insane. But just give me 1 second. I'm trying to pull up some stats to see how he did last year. His corner, or one of the drills, he was tied for the fastest at 4.39. Something with the one of the running drills. I'm not sure exactly, but for the Scarlet Knights in 2024, let's see how he did. He had the most extensive action, where he had 43 tackles. He had 2 interceptions last year as well, going along with 11 pass defenses. So yeah, pretty productive. And then the other couple years, he had a combined 13 pass defense, along with combined 3 interceptions in 2022 and 3. So yeah, not terrible. For his career at Rutgers, he had a total of 5 picks, and he had a total of 26 passes defensed. So that's 3 years. Okay, so I mean,
adding more to the CB depth.
We'll see more.
Never have enough depth.
More interesting progress to check out here. Or more projects to make, and see if we can check these guys out in the preseason. And that leads us to our final pick for the Ravens, the round 7 pick out of LSU. They got another O-lineman and a guard this time. They got Garrett Dellinger, pretty big, 6'4", 325, right? And this guy has extensive game action. Okay, he started 26 games at left guard, and he also had 3 games at left tackle, along with 1 game at center. So he's played a variety of positions. So that's pretty interesting. Okay. So, he's more of a run blocker again. But it's pretty cool to see that he can play different positions. I like that. I think that's what they wanted. Extensive game action too.
I think that's what the Ravens were aiming for. Yeah. Just those guys who can be inserted at any spot at any time. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Another one of those guys also who was helping to block for Jaden Daniels.
Right. It's pretty nifty there too and moving. He doesn't really get caught in flat-footed, so he's pretty nimble for his size as well. 325. That's a pretty good sign. So yeah, we'll see how these guys turn out. That's the end of the draft for the Ravens. We've got a bunch of people, all 11 picks. Everyone is signed except the first two, so we're waiting on those two to get their contract finished, and then we will be on to workouts, which is something you might want to talk about since you're actually going to be there tomorrow.
Yeah, we're going to be able to see these rookies up close and personal. The Ravens have been on it. Most of the Ravens have been in and out of the training facility anyway these past couple of weeks. Just getting some voluntary training in. Roquan, Marlowe, I know Linderbaum was also there, Caham, just a lot of guys just getting reps in. But yeah, man, rookie camp started off today. In fact, this session was closed off. It was more like a more intimate thing. I know tomorrow, these next 2 days, I believe people will be able to view it more. But yeah, I'm excited to see how these guys are in field and just get an up close personal look at, how they can contribute to this team. Obviously it is going to be cutthroat for making this roster. Unfortunately, there's only 53 spots, but I have a lot of faith that some of these guys are going to make the final cut.
Yeah, and it's really exciting to see how much depth that they're going to have now. I'm really excited about how Wester's going to fit in this wide receiver position. I mean, you got Zay, you got Bateman, you also got D-Hop. We haven't talked about that because our last video was, I believe, the second week into free agency. He was one of the last pickups that Baltimore made. So add D-Hop to that list, which is a solid pick. I know we wanted him 2 years ago, but that's fine. He can still show something. Guy, yeah. He doesn't have to be the number one receiver in this offense. He just needs to be somebody who can make tough catches, move the chains. He can still make those catches in traffic. And then you've got Wester now, who could be take the top off the defense, who could slip out of the backfield while you're not sure.
Yeah.
Slip down the sideline, up the seam while you're trying to double team Zay or Bateman or Andrews or whoever likely. By the way, speaking of draft, there is no trades we made. No draft day trades. Always intact. Mark Andrews intact. So all those guys are staying. But anyway, back to the Wester thing. I love adding him to a crowded wide receiver room. So we'll see what this happens. We've got our premier edge rusher potentially. We've got just so many possibilities here with this class. I feel like it's an exciting class.
How would you grade it?
I would grade this as like a B+, A- type of draft. I really think so.
You stole my answer right there.
Yeah.
Yep. I think you would give it that. My only gripe with this draft, I thought they might have went edge rusher again at some point in this draft, to try to continue to build on that. But other than that, I think this is a solid B+, A-. They addressed a lot of depth needs. They got more versatile. And I think it was a good draft.
There also have been rumors swirling around about this Kayvon Thibodeau trade. What would that mean?
I don't know if that's really in the works. I mean, the Giants
have we heard about it though?
I don't know if it's really for us. I know the Giants picked up Kayvon's 5th-year option. So, but I mean, that defensive line room is crowded. I mean, you got Brian Burns, you got Kayvon. Now you add Abdul Carter, and it's just you got Sexy Dexy in the interior.
Shoot, we can bring him over. Bring over Kayvon. That'd be cool. Then we get that edge rusher, young one at that.
I mean, we'll see. I don't know how for certain it's gonna be, but I mean, they didn't make any trades on draft day, so. I feel like this roster is what it is. Unless they surprise us. We don't know.
Go ahead and get Jair. That'd make me feel better, too.
Rumor has it Jair and the Packers are still trying. I don't
know what they're doing. I have no idea what's going on. They keep saying they're going to redo it. I don't know. Some Packers fans think it's done, and some Packers.
I'm not gonna lie. Ramsey is still up in the air too.
That's right. The Ravens have been linked a little bit. There's been some
Ramsey is still up in the
whispers about maybe some potential trade going on for Ravens. That or not really that would happen, but whispers about that would be a great fit for the Ravens if they were able to steal.
Marlowe and Ramsey would be a great
combo.
I
would love that. But I'd love that.
You have to dream.
Go get them, Ravens. Go get them.
You got to make the money work.
That's true.
Speaking
of money, that these 5th-year option deals.
Yeah.
Kyle,
I think they made the right decisions.
They picked it up.
Yeah.
So he's good to go for a couple of years. But next year, is this a contract year for Tyler, or is it next year? I think it's next year.
I think
right? 22, 23, 24, 25. So was it 2024 last year? Yeah, so it's 2025 now. So this will be his contract year.
Correct.
Yeah. So after this season, he'll be due for money.
He'll need money. Him and Kyle Hamilton will need money. I think the Ravens made the right
call.
No.
Kyle has his 5th year, though. So
I'm saying soon they will both need money.
Okay.
Yeah.
More so the center.
Yes,
Tyler.
correct. I think not picking up Linderbaum's was a good decision. His price tag, I think, would have been almost $24 million
for the fifth year
option. And I think the highest paid center is making even less than that.
$18 million.
Correct.
Yeah,
so
smart
I think
move.
Smart move.
Just get it done.
Pick up hand. Correct. And I don't think Linderbaum is really that kind of guy who's just like really gonna over a contract dispute. You know, he's out there to play. So
he wants to win. Yeah.
He wants to win. So I feel like with him, and Ham, it's going to be easy to get contract deals done. I'm not too worried about it, but the sooner the better. You know, because you want to be able to free up cap space. Honestly, while we're talking extensions, a Lamar Jackson extension probably should be in the works as well.
Save some money.
And I mean, Henry's on the last year of his deal. How much longer does he want to play?
Well, the contract talks with Jackson are real. They're happening.
Have been happening.
It's been
right?
confirmed.
So you know, there's things that you can do to lighten the cap load and try to free yourself up from some things. Obviously, we also have to look at the cap situation post June 1st because we've cut players since then, but I don't think the money is going to reflect until afterward. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how it works, but extensions should be on the table for conversation for a lot of players soon because you just want to. That's why I'm glad, as well as they're getting younger, you still, and maybe our Darius Washington. I think they still probably want to get in talks with him about an extension. He'll be cheap. So I think, you want to be able to free yourself up as much as possible, and you can do that by either restructuring or, possibly giving extensions.
Yeah. This team's kind of stacked now. They've got, and then all offensive line now all of a sudden has become one of the most depth positions that we have. All of a sudden, because we took, how many? 3?
We took
4?
3. We took 3.
Or is it 3? Okay.
Yeah.
3 linemen in the draft. Hopefully they can pan out to be some good reserves if needed. Because you also forget we also have Pro Bowl guard Daniel Falele. We haven't mentioned his name.
Still have Falele.
So
that is true.
He's still getting somebody. He's still right now etched into the starting spot. So we'll see how the summer pans out for him. He'll be challenged by these young rookies to see how he's going to handle that. So yeah, I mean this team, it was a very productive draft. I would be willing to even switch it to A-, fully A-.
I think they did a good job. I didn't know if they were going to use all 11 picks, but I mean, when you are partially cap constrained, it's necessary to use those picks to keep adding talent.
If they could find a way to get, if they could pull off a Ramsey trade, I'd feel like they are.
He probably wouldn't go. I don't think he'd go for much.
Right.
Which is the crazy
I
thing.
feel like if they could pull that off, I feel like there's nothing more that this team needed to do in the offseason. I think they would have done everything they really needed to. They would have gotten a decent DB. They also got Awuzie there, too. Don't forget. And some of these younger guys. But Awuzie is a solid player. And, if he doesn't have to start, that would be a real good steal. Because I know he was a starter in Tennessee, wasn't he?
He was a starter in Tennessee, yeah.
Like cornerback 1 or 2, right?
I think he might have been 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
so right now he's CB2 right now.
And he's not unfamiliar with the AFC North since he was with Cincinnati. So, it's it was a good pickup. It was a good pickup to add more depth.
If we can get one more corner, I would be feeling pretty damn good about this offseason.
Yeah.
I'm already feeling pretty good as it is. But again, I'm not talking anything about what the season says. I'm just excited about watching us play again, getting a good team, setting us up for the best success that we could possibly have. So we'll see how it goes.
How the heck is this 53 going to shape out, man?
I don't know. But we got a while for that. We got workouts. We've got mandatory camp.
Yep.
We've got training camp later on. We've got voluntary workouts in there too before the mandatory camp. So we've got quite a little bit of time before training camp and then preseason. So plenty of time to etch these names in for plenty time for these rookies to make a name for themselves. So we'll see how that happens.
I'm excited.
But anyway, I think we're about done here. There's not much more we got to cover. It's good to be back, more than just on a short. So, yeah, Tom's hiding over there in the comments. Excuse us for the sideways camera that you guys are probably seeing. So if you're watching us sideways, just don't even have to watch the video. You can just take a listen. But anyway, yeah, I'm good to go ahead, and I have nothing else to say. So
all right. Well, guys, it was a great draft for the Ravens as usual. In EDC, we trust more times than not. But yeah, let us know what you guys think about the Ravens draft. How do you feel like they did? How would you grade it? We'll hopefully be back with you guys for some content soon. Maybe we can talk after rookie mini camp to see how that goes. It's only a 3-day thing, so maybe, after these next 2 days, we can probably come back and powwow a little bit. I'm sure there'll be some film and stuff available to analyze, sit back and look at. But again, thank you guys for hanging in with us. Thank you for joining us. We are back at Dom and Gonz Sports Talk. If you like the video, hit us with a like, follow, subscribe, comment, all that fancy jazz. Instagram is where you can find us. We're also on YouTube. Link is in our bios on the page. So yeah, thank you for joining us again. This is Dom and Gonz signing off. Go Ravens.